purpose, Alfred. Somebody's doing this on purpose.
The world changed on September 11, 2001. A nation that once felt safe was now in shock. The shared experience of a nation in danger, feeling anxiety and fear. Our pain and anger were met with an unparalleled outpouring of financial support. And along with America's generosity came a renewed call to effectiveness and accountability. 2 years ago, the United Way of Clinton and Essex County had begun to redesign the way United Way contributions, your money, is invested back into the community. Two of our goals were to increase effectiveness and accountability. What are the problems facing our community? Your United Way has devoted thousands of hours to producing the Compass Report, which measures and prioritizes the problems the community feels should be addressed. This research will increasingly guide the United Way in determining who our community partners are and which of their programs most effectively address these community needs. We need to be effective. Agencies must not only show the number of people they serve, but how effective each program funded by the United Way is in addressing needs of our community. With a united vision of community needs and an outcomes-based system which measures effectiveness of programs, we can make an even greater difference. Agencies will need to show they are addressing these identified community needs in order to become United Way Community Partner, and will be held more accountable for the money they receive. What does this mean to you as a giver? Greater assurance that your dollars are being used to address the problems in your community in an effective way. You can still designate your pledge to a particular community partner, or you can continue to let a committee of community members direct your donation to those that need your support the most. United Way Community Partners change lives, and sometimes they save lives. Meet Gabby, a shy 5-year-old who lives near Sable Forks. Gabby attended Head Start, which is administered by ACAP, Adirondack Community Action Programs in Essex County.
Gabrielle signed up to come to school here in September of last year, and one of the requirements was having a physical done. And as part of that physical, they did blood work basically to check for lead in her system. And they found at that point that she had a strange white count, and that's all they could tell us. So they had us increase her iron for a couple of tests and tested her repeatedly, and then in November sent us to an oncologist in Burlington, Vermont, named Alan Homans, who did a bone marrow aspiration, which was putting a needle into Gabby's hip and withdrawing some of her bone marrow. And she was diagnosed on December 12th with myelodysplastic syndrome, which is the preliminary stages of leukemia.
Our early screenings and other health procedures that we do in the program enabled her and her family to become aware of this at an early stage. It's unbelievable to us how many children come into our program that don't have a regular doctor or haven't been to a doctor in years in some cases.
Sometimes those screenings aren't done. Not a lot, but sometimes they're missed. And I just want to say that they're very important, because had they been missed in this case, we wouldn't know that Gabby had pre-leukemia. The United Way is a very worthwhile charity. I can tell you through the program that I work, the Adirondack Community Action Programs, we help many, many people. And I see it on a daily basis. Our emergency food shelves are very busy.
The United Way is a tremendous network of agencies and people who genuinely care about the community. And these people are willing to not only donate their dollars into the community, but also their time and their effort. It's really a great network.
When we first heard the diagnosis, we thought they'd handed us a death sentence, because all we'd ever heard about leukemia was it's a terminal disease. And through working with the program here and getting her to different specialists and such, we were able to learn that with a bone marrow transplant, Gabby stood a very good chance of not ever having full leukemia. Well, to us, their dollars saved our daughter's life. Without them contributing to this program and having this program here, there's a very good chance that Gabby would have had full-blown leukemia, and at that point not been able to withstand a bone marrow transplant, and we could have very well lost her.
Gabbys Story is a great example of how a United Way agency made a difference. A problem was identified and dealt with as quickly and as effectively as possible. Medical emergencies, terrorist attacks, natural disasters. A crisis can strike anyone at any time. However, most of the problems in our community don't get broadcast on live TV, nor do they wake you up like an earthquake. When it comes to sexual abuse, many victims never even reach out for help. And the terrifying reality is that most sexual predators target people they know.
It's something I took a lot of time doing, thinking of ways to be left alone, thinking of ways to having a child trust me, my victim trust me, and thinking of ways to be alone with them so I could sexually abuse them. And what I was trying to do was to gain the child's confidence and trust. I mean, I was trying to be the perfect parent, the perfect friend, the perfect neighbor. Gee, if you want to go somewhere, you know, I'll watch your kids for you, and you know, it won't cost anything. I have to stay home with my own. And it took 4 years I attended this group, the Safer group, and that's where I got a lot of understanding.
Safer program is a real community collaborative effort between the probation department, the district attorney's office, Children Protective Services, the mental health unit, and the crisis team. We have money that's specially for crime victim services. So our role there is really wanting to pay attention to kids who've been the victims of sexual assault. A collaborative effort means that the entire situation is looked at. There are services that are provided for perpetrators. The reality is, for most perpetrators do come back to our community, and this is a way that they get monitoring and counseling so that the situation doesn't happen again. We're there to make sure that the victims' rights are protected, and the victims get the services they need, along with Children's Protective. So it's like all part of the problem gets addressed.
So it was finally good to start talking about it, and I got a lot of questions answered in this group.
The thing that keeps the Crisis Center so vital is that we have a 24-hour hotline, 7 days a week. We've had it since we started, and our clients who call us tell us what's needed. So we develop our programs based on what our clients tell us are needed. Last year we serviced in this office about 8,300 individuals. About 800 of those were out of the area, about 1,300 from Essex County. We provide emergency services in terms of food, and we provide the emergency shelter after hours for DSS if somebody in our community needs a place to stay. We're the agency that responds to that. We provide services to crime victims, particularly those who've suffered from sexual assault. For the many years of support we've had from the United Way, my first thing was be thank you. Without the United Way funding, this agency could not offer the emergency services that we do. We have lots of different state grants that help us provide services to crime victims, but that basic crisis intervention service that's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in our community is primarily supported through the United Way.
From a child struck with a life-threatening illness to the safety of a community where the cycle of abuse must be stopped, United Way agencies are there. Our new design for community partnership will enable the United Way to be a leader in community building and problem solving in order to increase the capacity of community members to care for one another. That's what it all comes down to, people caring community by community.